In this video, we're going to create a nice menu bar which has a very nice effect here. And also, if you open up the developer tab in mobile view, you can see it has a nice mobile responsiveness as well, with nice buttons here, which are all links as well. And if you close on this and then we open up back here, you can see we have this again. This is a very exciting way of creating a nice responsive navigation bar, which is mobile friendly with mobile icons in a column style when it's on mobile screen, and normal size with some nice fancy effects here on large screens or desktop and notebooks. So let's start and explore how to make this. Let's start creating our menu bar here. So the first thing what we're going to do here right now, you can see this is our blank HTML file, and here we have all the code. This is our HTML, and this is the browser basically. This was the HTML file, and we have here our CSS. So what we're going to do here is first we're going to make here our menu bar at the bottom, here at the top. So what we're going to do here is first of all we're going to use a tag. And this tag is called section, which will cover everything related to the menu. Basically here we can use the header tag, and within here we will put in a few items. So we have here on this side here we will have our logo. On the other side we want to display our menu items. So we say here we can say div class logo, and here we say href hashtag, and in between here we will have our item, which is img, which is an image, and the image source, which we can find in the description. You can find the link to the image, and this will be called piggybanker.png. And once we have this, we have now our item here. And then what we want to do here, of course, is to create a navigation tag. And I'm using here the navigation tag because this is the navigational part of the site. So we put in here multiple links, and of course it's a part of the header in this case. So we say here the following. And you might wonder, should I use here the UL or no UL, just a href? Well, it appears that it doesn't matter so much for the semantics. So if it doesn't matter, I would suggest go for efficiency, unless you really prefer a certain structure for being more organized. But if you don't, I would say just use here the href or the anchor tag, and we say here href, and this would be home, for example. That's one. Let's copy this multiple times. Alright, so we have this here, home. We have more here. This would be maybe savings account. This could be about us, contact us, login or sign in. Alright, so we have these now here. What I will do here is I want to give this a class name. This is our class navigation. So we can pinpoint this. And the reason why is sometimes you will have multiple navigations or nav tags, because you could have a footer navigation, you could have a sidebar navigation as well. So we can do this here, and this could be maybe main navigation if you have multiple classes related to the nav. This here, the section could be here, class menu bar. There we are. So now we have this here. We can now start and work on it, and this could be the same as well. Section, here the header, a certain class as well. However, now we have this, we just maintain on this part here now. So we have all of this. Now let's save this first and refresh. You can see we get this design here. Alright, so that is fine. However, let's create now a div part here, or at least a section should have a color from left to right. So we're going to give that. We have here our CSS colors set by default. We have here a pink color, a gray black color, and a white color. So the first thing that we're going to assign here is the section. And we can say here section menu bar, class menu bar, and then in here we could say background color. Then we use the var function to pinpoint this here. The color will be this color here, or in our case, no, sorry, we'll use color this, because it should be a black or dark gray menu bar. So if you refresh here, alright, so that starts to work. That is nice. So as you can see here, now we need to do a few items. First of all, we want to push the logo here, and then after this menu part, or all these links should be on the other side. So let's start and do that. For that, we will need to have in our header here, we're going to use the flex box. So we say here header tag, we say here display flex. So once we do that, it moves from a block to a flex, meaning that they will be beside each other. Refresh, there you are. Now you see them there beside each other, but what we want to do now is, and I realize that we should have here maybe a height set here, but that's alright, we will do that. But we want to do first here left and right. So we say here justify content, and then we say here space between. So space between means basically if there's two items, they will push one to the left, other to the right, and then between there is space. If we refresh, you can see now we have space between, so that's correct. And if you would do space around, what happens? It will put it here more at the side. There's around everywhere, so you can see that here. Save, refresh, and now you can see there's some space between every part of the tags. Of course, that's not what we want. We want space between here. So, alright. So then what we can do here, we could probably give here a padding. Let's say padding 20 pixels. And I guess the height is not necessary because this would dictate basically our height, or the width, sorry. The width being dictated by default because we're using 100% of the width by default. So we don't have to assign a width, and the height is being done now also by the padding and of course by the values we have here. So the next thing what we want to do is we want to make sure that this is in the center. Yeah, so it's like vertically aligned as well. So let's do that one here. Then we say here align items, and then we say here center. We save this, refresh, there you are. Alright, so now we've got that. Next part we can do is the logo, the div class logo. So we can say here class logo, and then we're going to pinpoint the image here. So we say here href image, href, then img for image. And in here we will say, because what we are going to do is this logo here, we want to adjust this color, because the black right now you can see it's basically hiding each other, which is not what we want. So we say here filter, we're going to make the color, we give it a filter, and the filter will invert, meaning that if it's a black image, it will be inverted in the opposite direction, which would mean it is white. So we say invert number 1, refresh, and there you are. So now we have a nice white logo, but if we drag the image, you can see the image is black. So now we have our image white. Let's start to adjust these here to make this a bit more suitable. So what we want to do with this is we want to give it a color that we have assigned here. This is a pink color, which is the branding color of our bank website. So what we're going to do here is basically the following. The first thing that we're going to do here is going to pinpoint the navigation. And what we're going to do with the navigation is the following. Although it's already fine with the navigation, we're going to say here navigation href. So we say here nav dot navigation, and then the anchor tag, and then we say here color, and the color will be also a var function dash dash color number 3, because color number 3 is the white color. Save this, refresh, there you are. Alright, so what we're going to do more is now is first we want to remove these underlines here and give the fonts a bold color. And I realize I need to have a pink color. That's number 1 here, sorry. Alright, that looks better. So what we're going to do is make it bold, remove the underline here, and give it some nice hover effect here. We say your font weight bold, and then we also increase the size. Let's say font size 16 pixels. Save that and refresh. Alright. Then we can say here text underline or text decoration none. text decoration, none. So now we remove that. So what we can do here basically is the following. We could give it here still some effect. And for example, we can do a hover effect. So we say here nav.navigation h hover. And then here what we can do is the following. We can say here, should we do text underline? Well, what we could do is maybe this. So let's do that one. That will be probably more fun to do. We're going to give it a pseudo class of after. Make sure the pseudo class after is with double colon. Always very important before we do the hover. So let's remove this first. And then we say here, we will say here, display block. Alright, so I'm going to explain to you why this is, because you need to show this. So let me give you a sample first, because this will be nice, because what we want to do then, when you hover, we'll get an underline, but we want to have this underline effect here. So we say here the following. First of all, we need to say content. Without content, it's not possible. Even if there's no content, it must be like this. So let's put in here a dot. Once we refresh here, you can see now we have after as a dot. Alright, so that works nicely. And maybe we could give this some padding, I realize. Let's give it some padding. Padding of 10 pixels. Alright, that's nicer, that's better. Alright, so we have this dot here. So if we would say here now background, and the background will be our variable color number 1, because we want the pink background. Color 1. So, and refresh, you can see now we get this. So what happens if we don't do this at all? We remove the content here and refresh. Now, even though there's a background assigned, there is no width or height assigned to it right now. And that's your issue here. The issue here becomes no height and width, because this is an inline item. This is why we need display block. So we say display block, and then it will start to respect, I repeat, respect the height and width settings here. So now we can say height. Let's say we do height is 3 pixels, because we want a small line, and a width is 100%. So my question then is 100% of what? 100% of whatever the item is here, of the element is here. So if that's the element, this is the element, 100% of this. Alright, so save this, refresh. Alright, so we've got this now, and then we have here a few items. Don't worry about that, we can fine tune this. So now what we have to do here is, we have the after. In our case right now, I want the after on 0. So we don't see it now. The only thing what we will see is once we start to hover over it. So we say here, navigation, a hover. Remember, a anchor hover is a state. A state is different. It's still an element, a specific element of the anchor tag, but it's a different type of state. And then we say after. Alright? Because the after is still part of the anchor tag. And then we say here, we will say here, the width equals 100%. So we save this and let's see if this works. There you are. So this starts to work. Of course, we still have some work to do here. As you can see, it doesn't look nice, but what we want is a transition. And what's a transition? Well, basically it's this. We will say here, transition 0.5 seconds. Save that, refresh. Now as you can see, we give it a 0.5 seconds effect. The moment we hover over it, it starts to show a nice item. Alright, so we have this, but of course we have some work to do, because now we have destroyed somehow our structure. And the reason why we have destroyed our structure is because we have assigned a after, which is a block. So what we need to do here in the navigation is convert this again to a flexbox. So we go here up. Basically, this part here should be pinpointed now. So we say nav.navigation. We say here display flex. And if we do this, they're back to normal. All right, there you are. So this is exactly what we want. So we have this. So basically this flex will counteract on the block response here, because once it's a block, it starts to get basically the full width, and that would block or protect or reframe other items to be beside each other. So we had to make it a flex. All right. So now we have this here. So we have this all done. This is all beautiful. But now what we want to do is imagine if we are in a mobile, we don't want this here. As you can see, this looks horrible. So how can we control this now? Well, very simple. What we need to do is we have to work now with a toggle box. And then we want these to be here in our center. And then once we click on it, the menu will pop up. So let's do that one. What we can do first of all is add a toggle box here. So where are we going to add the toggle box? We can do this here. So we say here div class toggle box. And once we have this toggle box, in here we can put the element, which would be, for example, an href or a button. There's some discussions, should you use an href or should you use a button. I've seen many people tend to say href is suitable for links. And if you want to click for a JavaScript effect, you can use a button. So which one you prefer depends. The downside with button is this: they have a prefixed design. As you can see here right now, let me make one here. So test. You can see it has a prefixed design, but it has also not a on-click, hover, or cursor effect. So I tend to prefer the href, but it should not be. Normally, officially, a button is the best. But for now, we have this one. We will just maintain button. And then the only thing that we're going to do here is an image and image source. And all the images you can download is here. This will be the menu.png. So if you do that, there you are. So we have something already. And the only thing what we have to do now is to fine tune this. So what we're going to do next is adjust these items here. So we say here the toggle box. Then we have the class toggle box. And then here are a few items that we need to solve. We have the class, we have the image here. This, as you can see, it's black, but it's transparent. So the background right now is gray from the button. So that's what we have to solve. But also the image needs to be inverted, similar to this one here that we have the logo. So that's what we're going to do. So let's start with that. So we say toggle box, and officially here it needs to be display none. The reason why is I don't want to show it on large screen. The only moment I want to show it is when we are on mobile view, as you can see here. So that's why we need to hide this first. But also what we can do immediately is the toggle box, and then we say here this was the button, and then we have image. So this image, we will say filter, and then we say here invert the color to 1, meaning the opposite. Instead of black it becomes white, and then there we are. Alright, so now we don't see it here. If we open up this, you also don't see it yet because we didn't assign that to it. Alright, so what we have to do now is first to create a CSS for our mobile version. So let's do that. So now what we're going to say here is the following. We say the CSS mobile version. It will be here at media and only screen, and so focus only on the screen. And what are the other options? Would be print, for example, but we don't want that. So only on screen. And what is the other requirement? Maximum width, meaning because we want to focus on the screen size. So max width 991 pixels. This is a default setting that Bootstrap basically had used before, and this became so widely well known that now many people are using this as the standard. Should you use it as a standard? Well, you can adjust that to your liking as well. This is just a default, and many people tend to use this standard because this has become the common consensus. However, you can do your own as well depending on if it makes sense, yes or no. Alright, we have this here, and then what we want to do is the following. We want to say here, the toggle box display flex, because we want to show it again, only in the small screen. However, if we do this, you will see, let's refresh here, and then if I make now small screen, we have our toggle box here, alright, but as you can see, we still have these items here, so we're going to hide these items as well. So that's what we're going to do here now. So we go to navigation, and we say our navigation here, nav.navigation, display, none. So once we have this and open up our developer tab, there you are. So now we have some time to fine-tune our hideous button here. So this is the reason why I tend not to use much the buttons, although it's better because they say if you use in JavaScript, which we will be using, apply a button. So what we're going to do here now is to give the button a proper design, and what I want to do is I want to move toggle box down because the toggle box is in chronological order here below the navigation. So that's why I'm doing that. And then we have here another one. We say toggle box button, and then we have to say here, we can check here for a background color. I would say background. Then we say here transparent or none, I guess basically it could be as well. There you are. So there is still some border effect, as you can see here. What we could do is maybe here border solid 1 pixel, and then the variable for the color is dash dash CLR number 3. We do this, refresh, that starts to look slightly better. Alright, maybe we can give it some proper padding 2 pixels, or maybe 5 pixels, save that and refresh. Alright, and then border radius, yeah, we can give it a 5 pixel as well, save that, and now it looks like a nice proper border or button as well. So there you are. So if you go here, although you hardly see the effect here, but that's alright. So now what we want to do is the following. Once we click on this button, we should see our navigation here. Then this navigation should be displayed. So how are we going to do that? Well, remember what I told you previously. This button will contain JavaScript. This is the reason why we use the button. So we're going to first make a JavaScript function here. So we say script, and in the JavaScript we're going to say here the function, and then we will say here show menu, and in here we're going to get the selector. So basically we're going to find the selector, which would be here document dot query selector. And which selector are we going to look at? So basically when we click on this button, we want to do something here. Alright, so we say here document query selector, and then we say here quotation. What are we looking for? Class. We're looking for the class, and what's the class name? Navigation. Alright, so once we have this, then what do we want to do is, then we say here, we're going to basically add a new class attached to it. So when we click on this button, we add here a new class, and this class will be called active. To do this, we need to say class list. We do not use class name, because class name will overrule all previous classes. Class list in JavaScript will add or remove a specific class. Basically, that's what we're doing. And we don't want to really add that, we want to toggle. What is toggle? Is like a checkbox. If you click on it, it's first checked, and then when you click it one more time, it is unchecked. So basically with navigation, we're going to toggle a new class, and this class name will be called active. So in short, when we click on our button here, it will toggle the active to add it on, because it reads that there's no active here. And once there is active here, we click again on this button, it will remove the active. So that's the toggle. Alright, very important. So once we have this, I can save this, but I want to do here the on-click trigger event. So we say here on-click, and in here we will say show menu, and that's it. Alright, so we save this. Once we did this, refresh here. Now if we click, let's see if we can find our classes here. As you can see here, pay attention to this navigation. If I click, it goes away, adds, and if I refresh again, you can see it again. There you are. So it's toggle. The toggle is working correctly. So now it's time to continue on and use that. So once our toggle or navigation toggle is being shown here, so we can say the following. We say nav.navigation.active. And once we are active here, we will say display flags. Alright, so once we have that, refresh now and we do this, there you are. And then we click again on it. Alright, so that works. Of course, right now we don't have the proper sequence here. So I want to put it in a proper div. So let's do this now. So we say here, we're going to make a position absolute. Absolute, alright. And this position absolute basically will start to control where we're going to put it, because we don't want to put it here up anymore. But we want to put it here in the full screen of the mobile version. So we say position absolute, and then we need to assign, because position absolute will not do anything until we assign the location. We want to put the starting point will be here top left, and eventually the width will be 100% and the height will be 100%. Alright, so we say here left 0 and top 0. No, top 0. And then of course what we said here, width 100%, finally height 100%. So once we save this, refresh and we click on this. Alright, so we see something here. I think we can adjust it instead, because 100% will still be a percentage off. So we don't want that, because there's no percentage off, so we're going to take the full screen here, VH. Alright, once we refresh and click on that, let's double check what's going on here. Active, full screen, position. Or we can do this, maybe a block. Let's save that. Refresh. Let me double check what are we missing here. Ah, of course, I'm sorry. This doesn't need, this is fine. We forgot the background color, and this is why it was creating a confusion. So we say background color, and we're going to make the background color black. So we say var dash dash color number 2 is black. So once we save this and refresh and press, there you are. So now we're very close to it, because what we need to do now is, of course, this needs to be repositioned here. So let's try again here, because I think this probably can be readjusted to 100%. This was the reason why, but that's alright. Let's do this first. So what we're going to do here, oh, we can do it here, Bob. We will say here, justify content. And then we say center. We want to move this to the center. We do this. Then you can see now it starts to move to the center of the horizontal part. And you can see now that VH is maybe becoming an issue because of the size. So we can do this one here 100%. Save that. There you are, that's correct. So we don't have to have the screen size. So then we have this. Then what we want to do is here align items. And align items we will say center. So we push them more to the center. So now they are vertically aligned. Just they were horizontally aligned. Now they are vertically aligned as well. But of course this too should look like they should here. The home should be at top, and then everything else should be below here. So that would mean we need to make a column size. So what we're going to do here is we say flex direction. And then we say here column. When we save this, refresh, click on that, and there you are. Of course, as you can see here, we have these effects here, and I'll be honest with you, these effects are basically useless on mobile phone, and the reason why is simply this. The mobile phone doesn't have any hover effect, and the moment you click on this, you'll be loading to the other page. So this is really not necessary. We can basically remove that effect on it because it doesn't make any sense here. So we say here, I'll just get this, and we have here the navigation hover. We'll just put this on 0. So once we are here, we have this one. We say navigation hover. Let's say width 0. I don't want this on my mobile screen because it has no value. As you can see, now it works fine. What we could do here is put some icons. Now we will do that later on. We'll just continue on because we're very close to our complete items. So what we can do here next is on our anchor here, this one, we can start to work on something new. So we have this here, we have the navigation. And then here, what we could do here, because you can see that these here fonts could be increased as well. So we say here, font size for mobile can be bigger than usual. Alright, that's fine. And then I think there's already a padding assigned to it. There you are, so that's fine. We will later on work with some buttons that make it even more fancy. So we have this now, and what we want to do finally is eventually this here, because the menu is opening, and you can see here it starts to show. I guess we could get the border as well here, but what we need to do is we need to change the icon as well. I'm not satisfied with the icon, and the reason right now what's going on here is basically the image is showing on top here. This is like a Z index on the button here. So let's fix this issue here, because this here is basically because of the absolute. Absolute will overlap on top of our old design. Apparently the image here doesn't get the overlapping. So this one has somehow a higher Z index value. But that's alright. In this case, this is beneficial. If you don't want that, you can do Z index 0 or negative just to hide it based on this, or lower than whatever you have in the absolute. So let's look here. So what we're going to do here is first we're going to look at the button. Where is our button? Let's check for a button. I am searching for a button here. Let's double check here, the toggle box button. Alright, so it's here in the toggle box. So what we can say with the toggle box, we will say here, I guess we can just keep this up entirely. Z index, let's put this on 10 for now. If I save this and let's see if this works, there you are. So let's double check here, what is the Z index of our absolute? So you can see here the position absolute, and then we can click here on compute it, and then we scroll down here, and since it's the letter Z or Z, so we have to go all down to the bottom. And let's look for here the alphabetic order. Alright, so Z is auto. Alright, so in this case doesn't matter, so apparently it's doing something. What exactly this is, I would not know at this particular moment. We can assign a new value to that, but doesn't matter so much. Alright, so we have this now so far. This works. Let's get the X mark or the close button here. So what we're going to do is the following. Basically what we're going to do here is I'm going to give here a new class. And this will be menu. And what I want to do, oh sorry, I think we already have the menu, so we say icon. And what I want to do here is I just will add another one, another image between here. And once we did this, we have here another one, we will say the close. And this will be icon, and I will say just close. And the only thing what I want to do now is if we refresh, you can see we have two items. They're together now. Of course, this is not what I want. I want to hide the one that we don't need. When we click on the triple dots, we open up the menu. So you should hide this menu icon and show the close. When I close this, we should remove or hide the close and only show the triple dots. Let's do this immediately. So what we're going to do here now is basically we can just get here, we say document dot query selector, and then what we say here, which one are we going to search for? Let's pinpoint the icon first. See the icon, and then we say here add a class list, and then toggle as well, so that the moment we click on this toggle, we should add the class height. Right? We want to hide this one, and then we want to show this. And the same thing will be eventually with the close button or with the close class. Make sure you have, I see here I forgot the dots, make sure you have the dots, because this stands for the class. And then we say here, show. So let's do this, save this, refresh. And now if I click on this, and you will see here now, pay attention, and you can see close and hide. So if I press on close, it should not show, and as you can see here, it doesn't show, and the icon will be shown. And then if we click again on here, it should be hide. Alright, so that works very nicely. So now we can say here, basically icon, we can copy all of these. Let's go here, and we can basically do it in the toggle box. Oh well, not here, no, we need to do the toggle box, but we need to do it in here in the buttons. So we say here dot toggle box button class. We have the icon, then dot or another class for height. So basically it's because we're pinpointing only the class the moment it has icon dot height. And then we say here display none. Alright, and then we do the other one. We have another class, we say toggle box button dot icon, oh no, sorry, a close button, which is the close. This close will do the following. We'll say here display none by default, but we have another one, it's the toggle box button dot close dot, so the moment we click on it, and show, and that moment we say display flex. For the flex box, save this, refresh. Alright, so we see something happening here. Did I save everything? Make sure I save this, save that. Alright, icon close, show and hide. Toggle box button, am I getting the right? Alright, sorry, it should be button img. My apologies. So we say here img for the image, img. We save that, refresh. Now as we see, there we are. So now we have this button here that looks beautiful. But maybe you want a different design for this here. Can we do that? Yes, of course we can play around with that as well. So let's look at that one. Sometimes, which is also quite nice, is to have what we call the buttons like the rounded style. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So I'm going to make some rounded design buttons. So I'm going to keep them rounded. Let me say here class rounded or round icons. You can do that one. And let's put in here, basically we have this, we do home, and I'm going to copy this a few more times, or we could even do it in here, basically the moment there's a span, but I'm thinking right now our href has slight design here. The font size, font padding, alright, that's alright, we can play around with that. What we can do is the following, we have a round icon. Now I'll just put it in here for now. No, I'll just close that. And only thing what we're going to do here then basically is the following. We're going to adjust the span. We're going to make span. And then span has a span class. And this here, we will use icons. I have added here already font awesome. So you can use font awesome as well. So we can do here font awesome icons. So we say here this item here basically we can do here and then here class, closing class, and then we say here FA for font awesome, and then FA dash house or home, I think if I'm not mistaken, or it's house. We just have to see, and then what we can do as well FA times 2 for a bigger size. So let's save this and see what happens. So once we have this here, can see here, does it show properly? Not sure yet. The home navigation. Let me double check. Did I save this? I saved this, but so let's refresh. Alright, so we have the home, we have the icon, and then we have here the icon FA house. Sorry, it's not house, it's home. So we save this, refresh, and now there you are. Alright, so we have this now. What we want to do maybe is here, we can readjust the navigation of this. So we say here the span, and we can do it almost similar. We can say here class, and this would be let's say screen or large, so let's say extra large. Alright, and this will be when we are in a small screen. Simple as that. So this will be only visible the moment we are in a small screen or SM screen. Basically that will be the class name. So once we have this, we can readjust the design. So let's do this one more time. So what we're going to do now is we want to hide the home, show this icon, and then eventually make a circle around it, which makes it more nice. It creates a nice effect and more appealing effect for probably for mobile phone. So let's start to do that as well. So all we have to do here, first of all, is to make sure we have the proper design. So we have here on the, let's double check here, the XL. What we can do first is to say here, for the small, I guess we can use the round icons as a name, or use a small, or we can use round icons. I think that's more than enough because it's already clear. The moment we are on mobile phone, that's what it should look. So we say here, let's double check where are we exactly. Navigation, then H, span. Alright, so that's this one. So we go here, navigation navigation class, H, and then we have here the span, am I correct? Yes, and the span class would be round icons. If we have this one, we will say display none. Alright, so once we do that, we should open up here. You will not see it here anymore. Alright, that's correct. And if we open up here, right now you don't see it as well. That's fine, because we have to reassign this the moment we are on here. So what I'm going to do here is, for now, I'm just going to copy all of this. And can we even add it on here? I guess we could even remove this class here. We could move it in here to be even more efficient, but that's alright for now. Oh, so I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to copy here again, and here again, and again, and finally again. And then what I need to do here is I need to give this the XL span. Alright. I'm just going to add this. And then here I will do closing span. So are you able to follow along? I'll just put in some enters here just to make sure so you can follow along and it's more clear, because it starts to look like a bit of a mess. Alright, so we have this one. Let's make it like that so they will look far more easier to read, because right now I am getting very confused because there's too many items in here. Probably to make it more cleaner, I would say to refactor it. Remove this, put this in here, and that will be basically the same. Well, I will check, and if we can do that one, then it will be fine. So we will see that it will be far more easier on the eye to read, because right now we have so many nested items in here. So we have this here. Let's double check. Alright, so we have this here. This one is still missing. And then what I want to do, I just figure out I will remove it just to make it far more easier to read. Alright. Alright. So we can just pinpoint only one single item. We say here, rounded icons, or round icons. Alright. Alright. So there we are. I think now we have this slightly better. As you can see, I put all of these nicely below each other, make it more neat. There you are. So as you can see, this is a far better way. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to save this for now. And then you can see here the span will be a I. That's the only thing what we're going to change here. We're moving access codes, and then if we do this, that's alright. So now we have this. We have all of these icons. What I want to do now is I want to move them. Or at least not move them. I want to copy this. We go down here in the mobile viewing. And then in here, basically we have our navigation AI, round icon, display flex. But what we will hide is the navigation dot or nav tag dot navigation a, and then we add here a span, another span, or span with the class XL. So basically you could remove that class even right now, but it doesn't matter for now. Say display none. So once we save this, refresh, we have now our icons being shown instead of the default text. And what we can do here is basically increase the text. You can see here we have a lot of text items that we can start to increase and give it a proper design. Where we can do it in here. So let me do some adjustment on here. So what we can do here is we can make the color here on a different color. So we say here color, let's give this color variable, and then I have another one, it's called color 3, which is number white, color 3. We save that. Now they become white, alright. And then we say here, background, variable, color, number 1, so our brand color. Refresh here and click on this. Alright, so that starts to look nice, but we want to have it rounded now. So we're going to do the following, and it's the final item eventually is here. Do some margins. You can see we need some margins here. We say here margin. Let's say margin of 10 pixels. Refresh. Click. There you are. And now we say here border radius. Border radius. And then in here we can say, let's say, if I'm not mistaken, 50%. Refresh. There you are. So now we have these here. And what we might want to do here is maybe give the padding. Do we have a padding here? Alright. Let's do that. Padding 20 pixels. Slightly bigger. That looks nice. And now finally, of course, let's do our icons here. Proper icons. You can remove this class basically to put in span. That'll be fine because we have pinpointed it very precisely, so it does not matter much. However, if you want to do that, what I'm going to do here is, what was it, the icons. Let's put in icons here. Login. This could be a sign in icon. I'm just looking because I remember most of these from Font Awesome because I use this a lot. Savings account. This could be a credit card icon. About us. Phone. Or phone would be on contact. Here would be maybe bank is an item, if I'm not mistaken. If I change them here, there we are. So we have a lot of things. This could be maybe branches. This here could be our logo if you want to. Could be something else. Or let's put it here instead of home. It would be USD. And then we could call this piggy bank or bank. That's basically what we officially are, a piggy bank or bank. So we have this here. Well, alright, so we have to fix this here, maybe give it a fixed width. That's what I realized. Oh, alright, that's the final one. This is very good that I did this without realizing it. We can do here this, we can assign here a fixed width. We can do it here, or we can do a built-in class in Font Awesome. Font Awesome has a class of FA fixed width, which will always maintain a fixed width on every icon. So if I do this and refresh here now, You can see here, oh, this looks absolutely horrible. All right, I don't want this. There's another way we're going to do that. Finally, here in the navigation. What we can do if we refresh this here, all right, and then we can just check what is the default width. And if you look very carefully, I realize that this one's also not equal. So let's get, this is their biggest one. And what is the computed amount? Well, we could see here, if I'm not mistaken, was 85. So let's say 85 by 85. Everything should be 85 pixels. So 86 to be exact. Then we can say here height. I can do 85, that'll be fine, probably. And then we say also the width. Once we got that, we save this, refresh here. Now we have this, alright, text align center, and then we're done. Text align center. There you are. Save that, refresh. Oh, let's double check what's going on here. We have this flex. Alright, we can use the flex. If this is the flex, we can say here, let me double check if this is the flex. Is it from the active navigation A? Let's double check here just to make sure. Are we really correct? It comes from this icon here. It should be here. This is the item here that should be flex. So what is the design here or the display? We can double check this. So what I'm doing right now, and I want to know what's a display here, because right now it's not working as I expect it to be. So that means that there might be a display adjustment. So where is our display here? Letter D, display block. Alright, so it's a block. And the issue here might be this. We have to double check that. What I'm going to do here first is to make sure that this is here. Align items. Let's put it on center. See what happens. Alright, and then justified content center. And that doesn't work as well. So we have here maybe a tiny issue here. And of course, probably here the issue becomes most likely with the icon. The icon has a slightly different width. That is why it becomes differently, because it's responding on here. So let's check on this. Well, after checking, if you pay attention here, I just noticed this as well. I thought, alright, I thought it was somewhere in here, but no. We look at this item here. This is the flex. You can see it's already a flex item. Alright. So what I'm going to do here is we're going to get the I. Yeah, that, of course, it's already in here. So my apologies. Remove this. Get here the flex. Then we say here, justify content center. If I save this and refresh, there you are. Now we are in the center. To make sure it is really here in the center, that maybe it's not things, we can do also the vertical alignment. So it's align items center. So it will be also vertically aligned if in case if it would not be. So if I save this now, and then I'll just this way. Oh no, I want to remove this. And pay attention here, because I think it will now move a bit more proper to the center. Did it? It's very hard to see. I can't even say it. So let's see this. This is 40 by this. Alright, so there's some slightly things. Although the height is very consistent, the width is not, but this is probably the way it is. I think it's in the center. It's very hard to see here, but most likely it is. However, this is the way you can do it. And you can see here now, you basically have a mobile responsive one that basically changes into an icon. And if we close this, we have this nice underlying line here. And if you notice that maybe you say, well, this is just too close to the G, all right, we can reposition that as well, or we can adjust that. Let's look at the after. This is the height after. What we can do here, we can say bottom 1 pixel. Let's see if we will push it down just 1 single pixel. And if we do 5 pixels, let's make sure if we're not missing out anything. No, alright. Doesn't work. That's alright for now. I will figure that one out. However, this is, oh, this is the way how you can play around with this. And this looks quite nice as well. It's very interactive. We have this item here, which is even a hidden color. And then if you open up our mobile version, and with the developer tab in our mobile version, you can see here we have these nice, beautiful icon links here. That looks extremely nice and sharp. So if you like these kind of videos and you have any questions, put them in the comment section below. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope you enjoy it. And if you enjoy this video, you probably will enjoy this one as well. And if you're interested in Chart.js, check out in the description box the link directing to my Chart.js course where you can learn everything about Chart.js. And finally, of course, make sure you subscribe to my channel.